Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Rolling Stories, the podcast by HR for HR. I'm your host, Adrian Tan, and today I'm really excited to have another episode. And this time, we are going to have a very interesting guest that is going to talk to us about tariffs, importantly, how tariffs might be affecting the HR department. Our guest today is Herman Cahyadi. He's the head of people at Gojek and head of HR ops at GoTo Group, leading HR strategy for one of Southeast Asia's top tech ecosystem. At Gojek, he oversees talent development, employee engagement, and workforce analytics, and he's also a management doctorate holder and lecturer passionate about blending tech with authentic leadership. Herman, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adrian, for having me for your podcast. It's being honor for me.
So I'm really looking forward to this discussion
Mm.
because across all the episodes that I've done so far, we obviously go into, the background of the guests, what they've done in the company and all that. And when we did a pre-briefing, you suggested, why don't we talk about tariffs? And that really got my ear tingling because tariffs back then, when we had the call before, was something new, was something overwhelming for everybody, is affecting everybody. But I think it's really helpful for us to look at it from the HR lens. How does it actually affect the HR department? How does it maybe affect some of the industries that you were in and all? So I think all this would be interesting for us to discuss. Now, maybe I could just start off from a very overarching theme. How do you personally observe this tariffs thing affecting sectors like the ones that you're more familiar with, e-com, the logistics? So what is your general thought about this?
Yeah, so I'm coming from the red highly industry, right? So what we having right now, if you see the whole company, the whole world right now, it just like feel uncertainty, right? It's just like previously they are stable. Oh, we are okay facing 2025 with happy with the normal BU. We need to have a target and everything. Suddenly, just like one news hit, one decision is hitting. It's just like everybody is just go haywire and to confuse what we should do next and everything, right? So what we can see right now, how it's going to impact to the our own company at this point of time, we can see that the even for now, a lot of company around the world is just like thinking how we can get out from this kind of situation because you see they're already comfortable with the situation that they have right now. They are thinking to how to moving forward, but right now it's just like should we do A or should we do B or should we do C? But because we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know what's the impact on that one, right? People is just like waiting and see on this one. Coming back to the Indonesia as a perspective, talking about this one because some of the company in the region it will be impacted with a different way because some probably there's a lowest tariff, there is a higher tariff. Of course, like the other country, it's just like hitting about 100%, 145 something. It will be different how they act about the tariff itself, right? But looking at the industry like the right highly, the most thing that probably can be seen is actually it will be on the particularly cost of the importing goods and also the cost of the software. In what sense? Because most of the particular of the cost is we cannot produce by our own. And also the application that we're gonna use might be coming from the West, coming from the other country as well. It might be because of this we will be increase the cost itself. So at this point in time, it might not be happen at this point of time because people still negotiate and everything. But the immediately the all the leaders in the business thinking is not just right hiring, but just thinking that will this impact our own cost, and if it is impact our own cost, which cost it will be a higher one for the people who working on the industry. It of course it will be impacted on the application and the tech itself because again who built the microchip, who built the software, right? There used to be like not from coming not much in South Asia, but it's more on the Western, more the Europe kind of thing. But we're gonna see that it will be coming. It will be showing that the cost might be increased quite significant for the especially for the South Asia company.
So the cost component definitely is something companies have to pay attention to. I guess the tricky part is really trying to identify what cost may go up and what costs will not be affected. But I think it is safe to assume that there would be some impact on cost.
Yes.
And a lot of this, I would imagine organizations would just find it tough to control because all these are externally driven. So as a broad stroke then for companies within your country, what are some of the consideration or first few steps you think they should look at in under such a climate? What are some of the things that you believe they should start working on, start reflecting on, start researching on to plan for something inevitable or for something that, it may change for the better, it may change for the worse, nobody knows, but at least to make sure that they are in the best position for whatever next decision would come.
What's in my mind and cross all the leaders as well, right? When I'm talking with a few people outside my company and what is the senior leader actually doing right now, it's actually the first number one is they try to find some pocket for the cost efficiency. That's the most of the company having some exercise of this method, right? In the sense that, look, the sales is still okay. In the quarter one, Q2 probably is still okay, but then they're starting looking at which pocket of the cost that can be effective and more efficient rather than today, right? What is the thing that we can cost something and kind of cost that can be changed from, let's say, coming from the international, whether they have the some of the replacement locally or not, right? Giving like the example is the ride hailing. If usually that all the motorcycle that we have or motorcycle the bike that our partner is having is right now is actually coming from we need to import that kind of stuff. We need to find a local company who produce the spare part for our own partner. So we started to thinking that how to have like the replacement stuff that our own can do. The second point that they also try to look is actually how to see which pocket of the cost they can be saving and not spent by today. But at the end of the day, what we agree is actually the cost of the person or what we call as the personal cost, it will be at the end of the discussion. Meaning that let's start first with which one is OPEX that we can save. If we cannot find furthermore, personal cost will be the last airport. So this is what I see when we discuss with the senior level when the how to face this kind of the situation at this point of time.
Mm.
It's tough.
And
It's very
again,
tough.
yeah, it does sounds very tough because in my head, I think just prior to tariffs, everyone is already grappling with the fact that your cost of people are increasing.
Right.
And naturally so. As everyone do better, they will expect more pay and then so on and so forth. And this tariff just basically smack you in the face with something else. And that definitely would add a lot of economic pressure. And at the same time, of course, there's also business pressure.
Right.
Business have to survive, have to grow, have to thrive. So how would the approach of this then translate to actual tactical approaches when it comes to your talent acquisition, your talent retention? Does it mean straight out, okay, you think companies should immediately freeze hiring? Do they then double down on retention, or should they just look at some other aspect? What do you think are some of the knee-jerk reactions that people should be mindful of?
Freeze hiring is actually when you say the freeze hiring, actually that's the what I call it is the unavoidable word, but we have to do it as well, right? But how to communicate about freeze hiring about that one? Some of the company that and some of my colleagues as well, right? Freeze hiring is just like a nightmare for all the leaders in the company because it's just like, if you freeze hiring me, how should I run the business and blah blah. I think that's the classic response or classic statement coming from our own partner, right? We might not be freeze hiring, but because the freeze hiring at this point of time is not a good idea as well. Because you see, it depends how you want to see this kind of situation, whether you want to take a benefit or you want to take it as a defensive mode, right? There is no right or wrong if you want to take option A or option B. But the freeze hiring might not be the answer for now. I more prefer in this kind of situation, actually you prioritize which the position that actually you need to fill in. Because freeze actually you cannot hire anymore, and But if your prioritization and you're looking which is the best of person need to sitting all together and really look again with your organization, that might be the best way you need to do it, right? Because having said that, like this one, in this kind of situation, remember when we do have a COVID situation, right? Suddenly, all the business and the way of we are doing things is actually different, very different. So we should have this kind of opportunity when we do the tariff. Don't we need to think not just adapt, but this is the opportunity for us to transform our own organization to be how to have a new way of working during this kind of situation. We should have the best people in the our own workplace, but the most important one is actually not about hiring, but it's also how to retain your own people, your retain your best people in the office right now. If you have the best of it with the situation, it's not being like, oh, because the macroeconomy and all the situation is not favorable for me, I just keep quiet. I just like work as a BU. Hopefully the company is not firing me. That's not the answer for this one. But then your best people, you need to understand how to retain them and to motivate them to still continue whatever with the discussion. But the other part, you need to think that how you transform yourself with this kind of situation. It might be you don't need to invest with the people. It might be you need to invest with technology. It's helping you to overcome the situation that we have. So a lot of the thinking that actually you to think about it. Hiring, freeze hiring is not the answer, but you need to go through the hiring prioritization. To fire your own people, don't forget to retain your own best people in the company. The third one is not just for firing, but it's actually how you need to think what kind of thing that you can change from the person into the technology. So this kind of the three step is actually to create your own way of working with the minimum of the people and the best talent in your company. You should have be able to overcome all the situation kind of things, right? If you can keep your own people right now, it's good, but you need to keep the people, the right people to run your own business and keep your own best people to stay with you to overcome the situation. That's the most that's my recommendation for now.
It sounds vastly similar to when AI started coming in recently again, and it became more and more legit as it gets better and better. In fact, over in Singapore, just before his departure, the former CEO had mentioned publicly that AI is going to make the company lose like 4,000 jobs, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
And he said it on record that it's the first time in his career that he has not been able to grow jobs and he has to
Yeah.
cut jobs. So to some extent, I think the AI era, which is still happening, has taught the companies of those importance. And before we even figure out how to deal with that, then tariffs come into the picture and make things definitely a lot more challenging. But I also want to then touch on opportunities
Yeah.
because nothing in this world is completely good and nothing in this world is completely bad. Are there glimmer of hope? Are there silver linings for what it is right now? Tariffs, we all know as much as possible that it's we must prefer a free trade kind of situation. But having said that, are there glimmer of opportunities despite what is happening right now that you think would be stuff that companies and especially from the HR aspect could actually ride on?
So there's two things that actually I'm thinking as the if you're thinking that coming from the business or management perspective, right? From the the strategic HR management thinking, actually, if you want to see the opportunity from this one, this is the time for the every country to think what the kind of specialist that you have or resource that you have right now in your own country. In the sense, it's actually like Indonesia, they have quite a lot of the resource that we have right now. How you utilize that as maximum? Probably at this the point of time, might not be thinking just like taking the resource, but you're not thinking to how to develop that resource become to something Sometimes you just like sell your results outside, then outside coming back to us that we import with coming from goods, right? The opportunity that we have right now for every country to think what the thing that from your own country can be much better, or something that you can be good at this point of time, right? That's that's the opportunity that actually we have, because most of the time, because the world policy kind of thing, probably there's a free trade, then we just like trading here and there. It just feel like everybody is very happy and kind of thing, right? There's a form of the format that everybody can cross of all the country. But someone in this kind of situation that you can see when the tariff is actually implemented, everybody try to taking care of their own, try to make safe for each other, right? So taking care just by own it rather than working together with the other country. The second one that I actually see from here, the opportunity that you do it as well, is actually usually people use the corporate within the country, but no one have tried to think how we do the collaboration. It's a two different things, right? One is a corporation, meaning that actually both of us actually having the mutual benefit. But how about the collaboration? Is not within your team, but actually collaboration within the country itself. What the thing that you can collaborate together? You have something, I have something. Why don't we just using collaboration rather than to have a mutual benefit? These kind of things I don't know, but I'm thinking of forward. But this kind of situation, if we come back with the small company, what we should do is actually collaborate within the each department to make things work, to make things greater, right? But so I'm thinking is actually if every country have their own specific specialty and specific resource, why don't we just start to collaborate each other to create something better and good? So I also believe that every kind of situation there should be like have a opportunity. It cannot be just every situation. Exactly, there is no opportunity from this one. It depends how you want to see it, and how and it depends then how you can use the opportunity to become a benefit. It cannot be just like, oh, I'm rich, you are poor, right? It should be like right now it just like become, let's do together to make everyone is feel better for each other, right? So that's what I'm thinking for the opportunity from the strategic HR kind of things, right?
And I think at the business level, the collaboration could also be raised to another level altogether. Yesterday, I was in a discussion, and someone who represents this association for small medium enterprises in Singapore, he mentioned that at least in Singapore, companies who are competition or competitive to each other, we don't collaborate. We see each other as competition.
Yeah.
But if you look at companies in Japan, companies in Taiwan, when they try to go overseas, for example, they will work together. They will come together. And in fact, I was told many years ago, companies in Taiwan, they collaborate to the level that they will invest in each other, even though if they are competition. And I think that power is something that is often overlooked.
Yeah.
Because when there's this African saying, proverb, that if you want to walk fast, you walk alone. If you want to walk far, you walk together.
All right.
And I think this is a great opportunity to force all of us to come to that situation where competition for the longest time can come together, and let's work together. Let's do group buy. Let's do group negotiation. And I think that is something for companies to think about. And on the other front, I'm also reminded of this concept, which when my friend told me about it, I was a bit skeptical. And he basically runs a UK startup, and the idea essentially is talent sharing. So it reminded me of massage centers that I've been to. I realized, at least in Singapore, you go to places where there's a lot of different massage center, but actually they share the masseur. They don't have dedicated staff. So if I go into the first one and they don't have people, they just call someone to come here. And if you go to the next door some other day, you realize it's the same person.
Yep.
And I think, again, this may sound very radical, talent sharing at a corporate level, but I think nothing should be off the table in a crunch time like this.
Right. I think we there is some of the small things is already happening outside, right? We just like we don't know, right? But I think this is the opportunity to everybody to come together to just do this kind of the collaboration is become a matter, right? Rather than just like everybody just keep to their own, it's just like sharing collaboration. It might be better and but it's much good as well.
And of course, just focusing on talent itself, the reskilling, upskilling aspect or the internal mobility aspect is one key part of the challenge that one can really look at. Have you seen or are you looking at how that may be adjusted within a situation that we have right now where tariffs is providing immense economic pressure?
Generally speaking, I don't think it will be come up very soon on this one, right? So because at this point of time, people and their business is actually to not to think about the how to move it, but it's just like how to survive for a few months ahead, right? So at this point of time, it's actually looking at the survival mode. So that's coming back to the thing that talking about the upskilling, internal mobility. It doesn't mean that I don't trust with that kind of other thing, but this point of time, like talking about the short term, like Q1, Q2, or the H1 as the second semester, I think for this the rest of the 2025, people is thinking how to survive with all the changes, right? Having said that, people will try to look what is the new model, what is the new way of working, what kind of technology that I need to invest, and how many people actually we are looking at this point of time. But on the other side as well, I'm also thinking that the what kind of the situation that a government will be involved on this matter, right? I think sooner or later, government will come up with the new policy to protect their own people and also their own citizen as well. In the sense of the look, during the tariff, everybody's become harder. The business become not might not be sustained quite well. At the let's say, look to thinking about the thinking at the negative side, right? Layoff might be happen. A lot of people will be jobless. Then are we thinking about the how to utilize all the resource the people itself when they don't have a job, the social security and then kind of things, a lot of things that become a government need to think about it quite a lot, and together with all the business, all the business leader in the that kind of sector to think about it, right? That's why the reason why I'm looking at 2025 as a survival mode rather than people have the luxury to think about moving people here and there or upscaling more and more, right? But it's starting to think that the upskilling on in the sense of the using the new technology and or upscaling with the new way of working, it might be that become a more focus on that one. But in the sense of the situation as the survival mode. Survival, I think this is this is the right moment that we need to think about it as a HR professional as well, right? Helping the business to prepare for this one, to embrace all the situation. Having said that, right? We as the HR professional about this one, should we spend more on the compensation? Should we spend more on the learning, or we need to spend something else, right? How you help all the leaders and the business in the company to project 1 or 2, what is the next 1 or 2 years, what is the OD kind of things, what is the talent you're gonna do, you're gonna have, what kind of retention that you're gonna do, what kind of what kind of prioritization of program that you're gonna do in 2025. Will be it as business as usual? I don't think so. You HR professional is start noticing what is the unregular things that actually you do in every year, right? It might be next year you cannot raise your own salary. It might be, right? It can be like next year you don't have enough money to pay bonus kind of things, right? But you need to set up a pocket that actually to think how to survive the business first.
Do you think this will also accelerate an adoption of companies looking into using AI, remote staff as a way to augment the challenges that they are already facing, and how do you advise companies to look into speeding up those adoption, if that is even possible to begin with?
Question number one is actually, are we believe in AI at this point of time on, right? I mean, looking at the Singapore and Indonesia, just give an example. I believe that you're more advanced than us. The in the sense of the utilization of the AI itself, right? Every country have a different adoption of AI. Your country probably it might be like more advanced than us, right? I'm not talking about the question is how AI can help us in the way in the way that we're running the business, right? We have the model, but are we sure that it works or not? We still have a question mark on that one, right? How we gonna govern the AI itself? We still have a question mark as well. But if you say whether it's gonna speed up of the AI, the answer is it might be, right? But in what way, we don't know. So that's the only answer that I can think of right now because there's no guarantee in the sense, right? Like that what we have right now is actually we also using AI in our own product, right? It's gonna help, yes, but until what level of the AI can assist our own business, because how to use the AI in the daily basis is still have a big question mark as well.
Let's see. Okay. So that's on the AI aspect. And in terms of remote workforce, is there a conversation that has popped up within your circle right after hearing the news about tariffs that companies should start really doubling down on or tripling down on to explore?
Oh, we are exploring, but at the same time, we are thinking about later on. Remember that before COVID, everybody work at the office. After COVID, during the COVID, everybody start to work from home, right? After COVID, it's a flexible. It's a you can flexible want to work anywhere or you want to come back to the office. But if you look on the just recently a few months back, right? A lot of big company is already asking people to come back to the office.
That's right.
I think the missing one from here is actually the collaboration and also feel the ownership of the job. I'm not saying that the work from home or work from anywhere is bad. I'm not saying that. But some of the thing actually is work, but most of the work it actually needed on the collaboration, especially when you think about the at your level as a strategic person and also need to have the managerial one. It might be seeing as the work together at the office might be the option that we are looking right now. Remember again with the context of the survival mode, which one is the survival mode is actually being more effective. Once you need to survival, it's actually you need to be together. You cannot separate out away in order for you to survive. If you're looking at the COVID, how you survive because you have a family at home. That's your counterpart to make a survive as a family because everybody feel the same, right? But in the company to make a survive, you cannot be just like working anywhere, but you need to work together in the isolation place, kind of thing. So you can feel the engagement. You also can feel the ownership of the job. You also can find the survival for each other. Sad together, happy together, success together, fail together. That's the kind of the feeling that actually we might to have it. So again, coming back to your question, right? Are we looking at it? Might be, but until what level, right? Because the survival need to be together. Because if not, then it will be hard for us to survive together. Not to
I think that makes great sense. Yeah.
not to mention about the transformation as well, right? If we want to find a new way, we should do it together. Go far together, as you just mentioned just now, right?
Yep. Yeah. And when everyone is in crunch time, when it's in the war room situation, you just have to be together. It just makes sense for you to push through. You can't come together as a football team but play at home.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
So we've spoken a lot about the kind of approach, the kind of mindset, how we should view certain things, and the reality of the situation right now. I'd like to move on right now to preventive measure. now that we have seen what could come, some other new stuff may come. We wouldn't know what we don't know, but do you think there are things that companies, HR department can really start looking at, built into, to take a more preventive measure, not to prevent what is going to come at them, because those are still external factors, but at least to minimize the impact when they get hit in the face again?
We should. We should. Again, how many times we are thinking about the HR become a partner for the business, right? HR want to involve ourselves in the center stage of the company. If you're asking me if you're asking me a question that whether how we going to prevent it, you should come back to the business. What the kind of the thing that the matters for the real matters for the company itself. In my sense, at the end of the day, we are talking about money. Having said that, the first priority that you are looking at how you can how you can help the company is actually how you want to manage your personal costs between between today and also until the next year. At least you need to think about between 2 to 3 years. You need to project what kind of the situation, cash flow of your personal costs looking forward, right? That's the first of preventive. Second, you need to relook all the program actually do you have. Which one you need to prioritize? Which one you need to have right now, not just nice to have. Because a lot of yesterday when I have a workshop, right, talking about the non-financial benefit, one of the audience is just asking me, because I throw out the question, why you need to come to this kind of session? They come in like, yeah, but I want to get some inspiration. And also I want to have a validation because we already have a lot of the benefit to the employee, but it seems like people still not happy with the benefit that we have. So the real question actually I'm coming back, what kind of a benefit that you have? Oh, I have a lot of benefit because company A is having this. I also have company B have this. So they just like thinking to have like, I have all benefit that actually other company is doing, but not thinking what is the needs of the employee itself. Having said that, you need to start to think in this kind of situation, what kind of the most things that employee needed in the sense of the human research, from the HR space, from the HR environment. What is the thing that are the employee need to see about the learning or others kind of the situation? You need to provide that one kind of things, right? And also the most important one is thinking that on top of that, right? Thinking that thinking about what the thing that needed from the employee, but you need also to understand that how to help them to overcome this kind of situation. Just giving an example that you might need to be like creating a security space, meaning that why don't we just like providing the saving for the employee to work together with the bank to provide higher saving kind of things that probably to save to in the future. I'm just giving an example. I know that one is a very stupid one, but I'm thinking that what you can collaborate with the other company to help them to secure their own future kind of things, right? The third one, this is the most thing that this is the most thing that the HR might be forgotten to do it, right? How you communicate with the company situation this day. Just giving an example, with this kind of situation of the macroeconomy, how can you tell your own employee to help them to understand what are the company is facing right now in the sense of what kind of difficulty that company will face for the next of 1 year. So you need to bring your own employee to have the same feeling as the leader who faced the situation kind of thing. When we say the uncertainty, employee at the bottom probably say, oh yeah, what kind of uncertainty? For them, it's just like at the low level, they just thinking that, oh, every month I still get my own salary and then I'm gonna spend as much as I want, right? But for us at the higher level, we just thinking that hey, we need to save, saving pocket, saving costs, and do the effective and efficient. But when we do that, how we can explain this to our own people until the bottom? How to bring all of them to understand what we are facing? That's the most of the difficult part, right? Doing something is easy, but to help them to understand what we overcome is very difficult, right? It's not just a communication, but it's just like you need to have a same feeling, because this company, the name of the company, the brand of the company is just a brand. It's only a name. But to make this company very success, it depends on the people inside. That's why we as the HR professional together with the leaders, we need to think how to bring all of them together, go far together with to overcome this kind of situation. That's the key.
And again, that can only be done if they are together to begin with, which will make it easier for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your view, your thoughts on these matters that really strike at the heart of everyone out there. If you're not thinking about it right now, you really should have started thinking about it the first time it was announced, or maybe better late than never, start thinking about it today. And I hope what Herman shared with us today will give you some sense of at least where you want to look at. I'm very certain there are some new HRs that have not been through any economic cycle before. This is perhaps the first smack in the face that they have ever encountered. But that is the reality of life. Life is a roller coaster. It's never a straight line. And hopefully some of the insights that we can gather today would help us better understand where to start looking at and which are the direction for us to head towards. And with that, before we end the show, for people who may be keen to learn more about yourself, what you do, or even reach out to you to learn more, where can they go to?
I will. If you want to know more, contact me. Just go to my LinkedIn. I will more than happy to reply all the questions that actually needed. Yes, just go to my LinkedIn.
Okay, all that will be added into the show notes. Thank you so much, Herman, for coming onto the show. Lovely speaking with you today.